What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another Week 1 game preview and prediction. And I am so excited to be talking about this massive matchup from the Swamp in Gainesville, Florida. An old rivalry renewed within the Sunshine State. It's the ACC versus the SEC. The Miami Hurricanes, with a lot of new tools on that team, are going to go on the road to face Billy Napier, Graham Mertz, and the Florida Gators in what feels like a make-or-break year in different ways for both of these programs. Can't wait to talk about this matchup. We'll dive on into everything Hurricanes and Gators in just a minute, but before we do that, you guys know I got to thank you for all the love and support you continue to show this channel, whether that's over prediction season, as we get into the college football season. It's so great to have college football back, and if you're as big of a college football nerd as I am, you have to hit the subscribe button, and you have to ring the bell to know literally whenever I upload. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. It really does help support me in more ways than you can even imagine, and you can even continue to help support the channel by liking, commenting, sharing, and interacting with it literally any way you can. But if you would also like to support me in other ways outside of YouTube, follow along my journey to be a sports media professional and my journey as a sports media student here where I go to college. I'm going to be posting a lot on Twitter, including, there's already a link up there where you can listen to me call a football game tonight. Again, tonight, that is Thursday night. There's a link there, and if I remember, I'll even put it in the description of this video. It's a D2 game, some really good football. You should definitely tune in if that is something that you would fancy doing, but please go support me on Twitter at TailgateNate29. Be posting a lot of things there. I'd really appreciate it if you give me a follow. But with all of that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's now talk about this matchup in Gainesville, Florida. And how do we do preview predictions around here for games during the college football season? Well, we're going to go through keys to the game when each team possesses the football. So we'll first look at the Hurricane offense versus the Gator defense, and then we'll flip it. We'll take a look at the Gator offense versus the Hurricane defense. I'll give you some more final thoughts, as well as where you can watch this game. And then I'll go ahead and break it down, give you a final prediction on who I think is going to walk away with the win in Gainesville. This is a massive game and could determine the success that both of these teams have this season. And again, what in many different ways are make or break years for these programs. It feels sort of that way with Miami in terms of needing to get back towards the upper echelon of college football. There's a ton of talent here on this team. And over the course of the season, they're probably going to fare a little bit better than the Florida Gators. But the Gators are an extremely talented team that have failed to really break through under Billy Napier. This is the year where they could absolutely do it. And it's a year where they probably need to do it. Let's dive on in. First, talking about this Hurricane offense versus the Gator defense. And when you look at that first bullet point, calling this a rebuilt Hurricane offense is a little bit misleading because it does have a lot of really good returning pieces. But I guess what I mean by that is they have a lot of shiny new toys coming in through the transfer portal that are going to really help this offense. Most notably is the quarterback Cam Ward, coming over from Washington State, formerly from Incarnate Word, where he was a stud at both programs. He's going to be a stud here with Miami as well, and he's got a ton of weapons surrounding him. Damian Martinez is an Oregon State transfer who's one of the best running backs in the country, now gets to play with Cam Ward at Miami. When you take a look at the wide receiver room, Xavier Restrepo, a 1,000-yard receiver from last year, returns. Jacoby George is back, and you do get Samuel Brown coming in through the portal, I believe a Houston transfer, and Nye Carr, who's a very, very talented freshman, should see some big-time minutes for the Hurricane program as well. This is a loaded offense that I think is going to be really hard to stop, and I also think is going to be tough for Florida to get pressure on because the offensive line, it's a good mix of veteran talent as well as some young guys that are going to be really, really good players. But Zach Carpenter, a transfer center, will be leading this offensive line. And look, this is a Miami offense that I just think is going to be really hard to stop. Cam Ward is a dynamic passer who's got an insanely good wide receiver core. Damian Martinez, as I've already mentioned, is one of the best running backs in the country. And even if you go beyond him, Mark Fletcher is a really good back. Jordan Lyle is a phenomenal freshman running back that comes in here, and you very well could even go 4 deep with some of the other pieces that Miami sees in this running back room. But and it's just going to be a very balanced attack, which is going to make it even harder to stop. You can run the ball with Damian Martinez behind the offensive line that only allowed 16 sacks last year. That, again, yes, did lose some pieces, but only allowed 16 sacks and led a run game to almost 175 yards per game last year. And Damian Martinez can definitely up that. Cam Ward is going to be phenomenal in the pass game. This is just going to be a really good Miami offense. It's going to be really hard for Florida to slow down. But if they do want to slow down this Miami offense, they have to do one very specific thing. Obviously, contain Cam Ward the best you can, limit the big explosive plays that this offense is able to produce, but that starts with getting pressure on this offensive line. Again, it's a mix of veteran talent as well as some young guys that, look, are very, very talented, but this is a Florida team that has a lot of good pass rushers that can definitely attack this Miami offensive line. Justice Boone, Cam Jackson, a transfer in Joey Slackman, even some of these linebackers, TJ Searcy, Shamar James, Grayson Howard, who is another transfer, Miles Graham, who is a phenomenal freshman linebacker coming in here, and you could even go a little bit deeper as well. They forced 22 sacks last year. You probably want to force a little bit more than that, but you need to pressure Ward and speed him up. Now, again, Ward is still very good under pressure. He makes sitting in that pocket when there are a bunch of guys flying in his face look really, really easy, but Florida has got to be able to speed him up and be able to force some turnovers, because that is the biggest key when Miami possesses the football here. The Hurricanes turned the football over 22 times last season, and a lot of that was due to some fumbling issues. Florida, their defense, they only forced 7 turnovers last season. Something has to give in the turnover battle. Is Miami going to turn the ball over a whole ton? Is Florida going to force some takeaways, or is Miami going to hold on to the ball and Florida defense be left gassed after Miami drives down the field? And they're going to do so at least a couple times in this game. The offense is too good not to get a bunch of points here up on the board. That's why pressure is important. Speeding up Cam Ward is important. Pressuring Damian Martinez, getting hands and fists and helmets on that football. Florida's going to need to force a turnover or two if they want to be successful against this Miami offense. That's my personal belief, as well as the pass rush is going to be very, very crucial, because I think this is a Miami offense that is going to be exceptional this season and should be exceptional in this game as well. But now let's flip it. What's the storyline when the Gators have the football? Well, Graham Mertz was quietly one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC last season, and I think he's going to be even more sensational this year. He didn't turn the football over a lot, made some really good decisions, and has some very, very good wide receiving talent. A couple guys coming in through the portal, Elijah Badger and Chamari DK, to pair with some really good returners such as Eugene Wilson, Marcus Burke, Aiden Mizell, Khalil Jackson, and some other really, really talented players. As talented as the Miami offense? No, definitely not. But Graham Mertz is a real good decision maker. He showed that last season, and he should continue that play into 2024. Now, you do lose Trevor Etienne. That's a huge loss through the running back room, as he is off now to Georgia, but you still have Montrell Johnson. You still have Trayon Webb, 2 guys that I think are going to be really good running backs for this team this year, but it starts with Graham Mertz, and it starts with being able to give him time in the pocket to be able to throw, because Florida allowed 39 sacks last year. You can't let Graham Mertz keep getting beat up this season, because Miami, as well, they have some really, really phenomenal pass rushers. Simeon Barrows, C.J. Clark, Tyler Barron, Marley Cook. Those are just guys that came in through the transfer portal. Ruben Bain is back. Akeem Mesidor is back. Ahmad Moten is back. There's a ton of phenomenal talent on this defensive front, and it was the bread and butter for Miami last season. They forced a ton of sacks, 35 sacks last season, only allowed barely over 100 rushing yards per game, and that front is just going to be insanely good at getting pressure, which is why Florida's worries on the offensive line are definitely, well, again, just that, a worry when you consider how good this pass rush was at getting pressure last year. And again, you do lose some really important pieces out of the secondary for the Miami Hurricanes. Cameron Kitchens is gone, as well as just some other phenomenal players. So when you take a look here, it's vital that Florida gives Graham Mertz some time in the pocket to throw, because if he can challenge this Miami secondary, I think that's only going to bode for a lot better things offensively for Florida. Now, again, the rushing attack will have its struggles this year. I think there will be moments where it's going to be able to work for the Gators in this game, but for the most part, you got to be able to give Mertz time to find, well, his targets in this really, really talented wide receiver room. Again, much like the other side of the ball, kind of opposite story from the other side of the ball here as well. The Gators didn't turn the football over a lot last year. Miami forced a good amount of turnovers. Again, that pass rush can be a huge, huge point in being able to force those turnovers. But the third down battle, I think, is also going to be crucial here, because if Florida can keep this Miami defense on the field and keep converting third down after third down, and they win the third down battle when they possess the football, that gives them a huge advantage in my mind, because it not only is going to tire out this Miami secondary, secondary, tire out this pass rush, and it'll lead to longer and longer Florida drives. It's just going to lead to more success throughout the game. If you can establish that you can win the third downs, and look, Miami's pass rush is going to get home sometimes here in this game, and it's going to get home at some point because it is just too good. And Florida, to me, has a little too many questions on the offensive line, even though it should be a lot better this season. Again, that Hurricane pass rush is just simply too good. What Florida can do is if they can prove that they can at least be very competitive and look, maybe only allow Miami to get 1 sack, 2 sack, 3 sacks, or I guess I'd say 3 sacks or less. That's going to prove to bode really well for this Gator team. Again, they like to sit on the field. They held the ball for almost 30 or for over 33 minutes per game last season. This is going to be an offense in Florida that if they can win that battle on the line of scrimmage, they can win the third down battle, and they don't turn the football over to not give it back to this dangerous Miami offense and stay on the field as long as possible, keep this Miami Hurricane offense off the field, it's only going to be a more of an advantage for the Florida Gators. And this is just going to be an overall very, very close game. I like both of these teams this season. Again, Florida's just got a very hard schedule. So when you go back to watch my prediction, again, I don't have the best record for Florida, but that schedule is really, really tough. This one in the Swamp, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, ABC, ESPN Plus, where you can watch it on Saturday. Miami is the slight favorite, and I would agree with that because Miami is the more talented team here. I think Cam Ward's the better quarterback. I think Damien Martinez is the best running back. Xavier Restrepo is the best wide receiver that I think we're going to be seeing in this game. I think Miami's got some better pass rushers, and overall is just the more talented team. The Swamp, however, is a very tough place to play. Graham Mertz, again, can explode and have himself a really good game. And again, Florida, if they can stay on the field, if this offense can drag some drives out and push some long drives, not only tiring out this Miami defense, but keeping Cam Ward and what has the potential to be a very potent Hurricane attack off the field. Again, you're looking at some really good things for the Gators here. This is a really tough one to call, but I am going with the team that I think is more talented, which I do believe is Miami. Again, only by 1 point, guys. I think this game is going to be exceptionally close because the Hurricanes are going to feel this environment here in the Swamp. It's going to be tough for them to play in. And I think it's going to be tough for Miami to get this win, but I think they do it. I think their pass rush is going to be able to get home a little more often than Florida's. I think they're going to win that line of scrimmage battle. I think Cam Ward is the better quarterback. I think he's going to outduel Graham Mertz, and maybe on a last-minute drive or a last-minute stop or turnover or whatever have you, I think some way, somehow, the Hurricanes find a way to pull this one out. 28-27 is where I got it. An insanely close, really fun game to watch from Gainesville. And I want to know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Hey, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. We got one more preview prediction coming out for you later on today. Goodbye.